Guillaume Elieu and David Granit from Dorier in Geneva. So they're part of the MCI group of companies. And we have Robert Massana from RNX, which is our Australian partner, but Robert is based in Barcelona. So I'm going to hand over to them to talk all about AI and events.
Yeah. So I guess it's my turn now. Thanks, Angela, for this presentation. Let me first share my screen to all of you. Okay. So as you all know, like AI have been like a very large and very exciting moment since this last 6 months, let's say, and everybody was very enthusiastic about it. Said, okay, it's gonna be like an amazing tool. And this is the presentation that I guess David is also going to highlight us to say, okay, how can we use this tool, this phenomenal tool, as a daily life? My point today, it's gonna be a little bit different. I want to give you like a glimpse about what's gonna be the challenge of this AI, as there is kind of a dark side story of AI, and this is something that it's kind of an untold story. And I believe it was very important to highlight this untold story about AI, because as a leader of company, this is kind of challenge that we are going to face, and not only to say that this is like a wonderful tool. Yes, it is, but it's a bit more complex than that. So it's always like we always like celebrating like this new revolution on the media. There is a lot of hype around it, but this is my goal in during this short 15 minutes to give you an idea about, okay, but what's behind or under the carpet, as we can say in French. I hope this expression also is in English. First, the most key idea and the biggest element that everybody said about AI said, oh, AI is going to be a huge emancipation tool. With AI, everybody will have the possibility to become like intelligent, brilliant. And this is a very big lie, because actually the reality show that this technological, how AI is working through like deep learning, it's use a lot of technological bias. And this is what I'm going to show you like a few of them. First, there is always this idea of cultural invisibility, because as you all know, I guess AI it's trained on data, and this data, of course, is going to reinforce kind of cultural invisibility. If we take, for example, the African continent, this is already a continent that have a huge lack in terms of data set, in terms of digital content, and because of that, of course, they are become to be completely invisible on the AI field. So first, it was already invisible in the physical world, but in AI, they are going to be again invisible at the same way. Second, and this I think it's one of the most important elements, is the idea of the curation. To me, this is one biggest idea that we all need to keep in mind. It's not to say that, okay, AI is going to make everybody more intelligent. This again, it's a big lie. And to show you that, I can give you like this kind of tiny example. You all know like Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, this kind of image generated AI, and we can generate this kind of cute image of cat or dog or whatever you want. But the big question is, which one do you select? Which one among this kind of infinite number of proposals, which one compose the right content? And to know that, you need to have like this kind of background, for example, as an art director. So at the end, you need to choose the element. And if you are not the competency, if you do not have the intelligence to choose this thing, at the end, it won't work at all. So let's say I want to translate like a text in Chinese. If I do not speak Chinese, I won't be able to understand if the text is correct or not. So what is going to do with AI is just going to reinforce like pre-established intellectual hierarchy. So people who master in their field, that understand, for example, like coding, mathematics, whatever, for them AI will be a wonderful tool because they can progress in this field. But for people that do not master anything or do not master like any specific field, AI will be just like a funny tool, but they won't have the possibility to produce very strong and powerful assets. Then we have, of course, like all the kind of bias linked to the AI, and AI is completely not neutral, and it's a root in the human data. And most of the time, this reinforce and perpetuate like stereotype and social cultural bias all around the world. This is one of the most famous ID and element regarding AI is how it reinforces inequality. For example, in this example, as you can see, we have like the same picture. So the first picture is the hand of the black man handing like for COVID temperature element. It's something like when you check the temperature of the forehead. And the AI define it as one hand with one gun. And then when we Photoshop the exact same picture and we white face the skin under, it become a hand with a tool. And this is not acceptable for a society of today's society. And this would be a very huge challenge for AI, because as you can understand, the problematic behind it is always going to misdefine society. This is even more problematic. This was an example like in 2016. So this is already 8 years ago. But in Detroit airport, we have like a scan that is able to scan like the sexuality of the gender of people using AI. And as you can see about trans people, this is going to be extremely problematic because people can be misgender. Then we have this kind of transparency and explicability, because AI, as you know, there is this term of black box, and because it's a black box, we don't understand how AI is working very deeply. So what's happening? It's we don't know the process that AI have done to arrive to this element. So for example, if AI is going to judge this person, this image, or whatever to define that this is a cat or this is a key, we are not able to understand the process that AI have done to do to arrive to this conclusion. And this is extremely problematic because you can imagine that in the near future, if we are going to replace like the judge, a policeman, or whatever by AI, we are going to be judged by a rule that we can't understand. It's not that we don't understand it; it's just we won't be able mathematically to understand it. And this is extremely problematic. If you check the example of the Tesla car, when the Tesla is going to drive and what is going to eat? Is it going to eat the man or the woman? They are going to do a choice to kill one of the two people, and of course AI will make the choice for us, and we can't accept as a society this kind of thing. The one of the last chapter that I would like to discuss with you is this idea of a post-truth. So this is very linked to an idea of and dystopian future linked to AI. So what I believe is going to happen in the very near future, at least in terms of the cyberspace, so everything connected to the internet, web, or whatsoever, not really about the real one, it is going to be very impossible in the near future to do the difference between truth and fake content, because AI will be able to generate completely crazy number of fake news, fake picture. So we will arrive in this kind of era of Orwellian era where we won't be able to know if anything that we are going to see online it's real or not. And this is the era of deepfake. For example, this is like already 2018, so it's again quite old. It's 5 years ago. It's a website that you can all check if you want. You type this person do not exist.com, or I think it's a real URL, and the AI is going to generate picture, very realistic face of a human being. So you can see that all these picture on the right do not exist. This person do not exist, and they've been completely generated by AI. So we can generate identity, we can generate like fake picture, fake passport, everything. And I could explain how AI have been trained to create this element, but I think we are going to be short of time, and maybe we go back on it a bit later. And I guess you all also saw this amazing video, and this video was already last year. So from today, like AI have been like a huge step up. And this is not Morgan Freeman, as it said in the video. It's not his voice, it's not his face. It's a perfect deepfake of Morgan Freeman. So you can understand that in terms of political bias, what we will going to be able to say that in the near future, we can make talk any kind of president, we can make talk any kind of diplomat, even the Pope or whatsoever, and we can control like kind of economic crisis. So deepfake era is going to be very, very challenging for most of our society, and even for us as a leader of a company. The question would be, how can we make sure that our employee are the real employee speaking? How can you make sure that me as speaking right now, it's me, Guillaume Helle, and I'm not like a deepfake of someone else? Actually, it will be completely impossible because we can copy my voice, we can copy my face, we can copy whatsoever. So any kind of relation that we are going to have online in the near future, even when you call your very close friend or family, it will be in very problematic in this kind of relation. And this it's arrived to a point where we see the opposite happening. So, for example, this was like in the French social media, and someone posted this picture of this young lady have been arrested by policemen, and a lot of people in the comments, I will do the translation for you, but basically they said like, oh, okay, great, thanks for the picture, but it would be good to tell and to let people know that this is like AI generated picture. We see that it's AI generated picture because of the light, because of the hand, because of whatsoever. And all these people online are complaining about this picture because the guy that posted this picture didn't said that it was AI generated picture, and this could be took as fake news. But, and this is the real issue, this was not AI generated picture, this was a real picture. So what we see is it is the opposite. It's not that human have been tricked by AI, but even the reality now believe the reality it's even made by AI. And this is what I meant by this idea of post truth and this very kind of integrity of information. And you all know, of course, the reference of George Orwell. But if you want to see and to highlight AI as like a dark as a dark room, which was, of course, the purpose of my presentation, we see that we're gonna have, like, as a society, as government, a huge challenge to try to not deep down into this element. And my very last element that I want to share with you, it's this idea that AI is kind of magic tool, that it's work by himself, it's just like computer, it's just data and everything working like smoothly and very easily. This also is completely wrong. As every time we speak about a network and cyberspace, most of the time we miss that we speak about hardware, we speak about data center, we speak about physical element. And in terms of AI, it's not magic at all. What we have, it's exploiting click worker. So what we call click worker, it's thousands and thousands of people, mostly from like a Kenyan worker, who are being used to train AI to make sure that AI can censor element or can make the right thing. And this is kind of invisible workforce that we call like a click proletarian. If you are more interested about this, you can read like Antonio Casilli, which is a huge sociologist that have been deeply depict this this issue. And at the end also, but this is not very specific to AI, it's more specific to any kind of technology, is every time a new technology emerge, we become completely bound to it and we become completely addicted to it. Now it seems completely impossible for any of us to live without internet, without phone, without lightning. So this is natural, but we need to know that this is not like an open technology. This is like a brown technology, it's corporate technology. So we are going to be a link, like if we are linked to Facebook at some point, and now we are going to be completely bound and independent to some private corporation that will rule the world, as Google did before. So we need to be very aware about this also. So my idea was not to give you like a dark and a sad idea about AI, as I'm a huge believer in terms of AI, and I really love this kind of tool. I use it like every day with David. It was more the idea to say, okay, it's very bright because I believe like the future will be bright, but it's important also to keep in mind like the dark side of the story, and to understand that what would be the big issue and problem that as a leader we are going to need to face, to challenge, and maybe to integrate and to think before we integrate them into our company. But what I think will be great is when David a bit later, we're going to show you more straightforward how we can use it, and how this kind of dangerous tool can be also very powerful and very sharp when we want to do this kind of project and in any kind of field. So thank you. I think I went sharp 15, Angela, and I think I will leave the talk to Robert now. So thanks everyone.
My topic it will be more about how to use our ChatGPT and what we can think about it, how to use it properly. Currently, nowadays, there are companies there they are hiring people that know how to use ChatGPT or AI. We need to think about it, how to use it. It's not as easy as asking a question. We need to ask properly, because if you don't ask properly, they will throw things that probably are not what you are expecting. So I would like to share a couple of examples, how to think about it, that you can imagine, or you can rephrase, or think in your business. And when you are asking to ChatGPT, think in different things that we are going to talk right now before to asking a simple question. And also at the end, I will show you a tool that I have that it works very well for me and today for summarizing and other things that I will show you. So first of all, let me share my screen, and let me put it here. Yeah. So that is ChatGPT. One of the examples that I will say, I would like to that he will create an open speech, right? I need to create an open speech that I need to introduce how to use the full potential of ChatGPT. But this is not enough. We need to add something else. So how to add something else is to indicate the audience. So we need to indicate the audience, and we need to indicate with the formatting, which is the speech or what he wants. He needs to write 300, 500 words. What is the tone as well? So having all of this information and the restriction maybe of the tone or restrictions that I can have, we can come with a task for ChatGPT like that. I need to create an open an opening speech that I need to introduce how to use the full potential of the ChatGPT to improve the day-to-day tasks in the jobs. That it will be like the topic. But my attendees here is the audience. We need to target. We need to think it. You don't need to ask only that, because if you ask only that, they will not provide you enough information. So my attendees are conference organizers, and they want to know how to use ChatGPT in their job, and they want to see examples how to improve their work. And then how long it will be. This opening speech should not last more than 1 minute. And the message needs to be warm and persuasive, so they will continue attending the demo, okay? And some restrictions. We need to specify anything else, anything that you can think about it. You don't need to be too open. You need to be very specific. Prevent the speech from having a sales tone. I don't want to sell something here. I want to having something like that. Oops, sorry, it was something that is not working in my chat GPT. Okay. So now that is the speech that he is going to, based with what I write it, that is going to do less than 1 minute. And I don't have time to read it, but what I am saying here is that we need to target the audience. We need to be specific. We need to modify, we need to indicate the tone, and we need to do restrictions. You cannot ask questions because you will not get the fully information that you will like, or the output could be totally different if I am saying only this question to ChatGPT. Okay, he will be completely different way how to write it. Probably now, because I have asked it in the same topic, he will be very similar, but it will not be the same. I will open a new chat. Another thing is sometimes you don't know how to ask the question or how to explain. I want a speech, or I want a letter that I need to send to blah blah blah, or sales marketing report about this, and you don't know sometimes how to do the question. So you need to think about it, that you can ask ChatGPT to ask the questions, that you will reply to him, and then after your answers, they will answer, they will create the content. So you can change the way how to ask. So you can say, I want, as an example, I want you to help me to prepare a script for a presentation I'm going to give about ChatGPT. Please ask me everything you need to know so that you can complete the task effectively. So you are asking ChatGPT ask questions that, of course, what is the main goal? Who is your target? What is the expected duration? Can you see the questions? Is what we talk about audience, audience, specific format, tone, restrictions. So he's approximately following that guide. And what you need to do, I will not do it because we don't have time, but you can play with that, is copy here the questions and answer are directly here. And when you answer all the questions, they will provide you what you have been asking here. Prepare the script for a presentation. And he will give you a script for a presentation about whatever you're asking. Okay, so that is to think about it, how to ask questions to ChatGPT. Also, ChatGPT can act as, so that we talk about prompts. Prompts are very important, and how to ask the question. We can also ask to ChatGPT to act as a specialty, as a lawyer. So you can start saying, as an expert lawyer in whatever, and you ask the question, or answer provide the communication to ChatGPT. You need to indicate you want to write, as example, you want to write a LinkedIn report, right? So you can say to ChatGPT that you are a LinkedIn copyright expert. So he knows who is going to act. If you are asking something else, or you are a digital marketing, or you are an expert in sales about this topic, and you will like to do all of this, and audience target, restrictions, etc., that we talked before. So your specialty is writing LinkedIn, that they are stories and shared actions tips your audience can immediately apply. You also know perfectly how to capture your audience attention by sharing how to guide. Your first post in the thread serves as the hook to grab your audience attention. Write the threads using the best way to capture new attendees for a congress about energy and sustainability. So you want like a LinkedIn copyright article that tells all this story about Congress, about energy, sustainability, and also you are saying attending by how to guide, right? Capture your audience attention by sharing how to guide in that terms. So he is providing a LinkedIn post about the start time, end time, and imagine the future with clean, renewable energy power our world. So it's magical, right? So actionable insights, how to guide every wondered how to reduce your carbon footprint to make your home more energy and efficient. Our Congress will feature practical how to guide to help you make a positive impact. So it's good, but I say, okay, I want that add a touch of closeness to the text, act as a coach motivational. So you can include more sensitive or more things. So they will add more touch close text in this article. Now it's a little slowly, but he will provide this information. So that it give you they will be here like pictures, this you, etc., etc. Okay. There here I asked yesterday other questions that we can have a look here. That is the copyrighted. Sorry. But here is I want you to help me to prepare the script for a presentation I'm going. And then here only I didn't give it too much information, and he was giving me the points instead of all the guidelines that I have provided here. So that is why it's important to provide, it's not loading, sorry, to provide the full information and very specific. You can convert that, can you convert the following, the above text article in a Twitter post? And then maybe he will now create that Twitter post. Okay, and also article for my blog, and this time needs to be more formal tone, and maybe he will change now the tone, and he will provide you an article for the blog, and they will provide you a different type of information compared with the Twitter, etc. Even they provide you a title for the blog, and here is starting writing the blog. Okay. Even here you can say, can you provide me as an expert digital marketing? Can you provide five titles for my LinkedIn that I will use during the conference to engage attendees to comment about the Congress, something like that. I'm not very expert in writing, but they will provide you the 5 titles. What your vision of green for tomorrow? Join the conversation and energy sustainability Congress. Share your thoughts below, and that is. And then you add an image, and then you have a post, and people can start post things in LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. So that is a little bit of information that I would like to share. So chat is smarter, faster, and cheaper than us. That is for sure, right? And ChatGPT is effective and specific with a specific task. So we need to remember audience, tone, specify the duration or the tone or whatever you want, but you need to be very specific. And we can save many hours and days and multiply your results. Okay. So the other thing that I would like to share is that sometimes we have a document. Let's to put something like, imagine that you have a terms and conditions that you want to read and you don't have time to read it, or it's not as important, or at least you want to get the takeaways at the moment, read the takeaways that it take you 10 minutes, and then later maybe you will read it with more calm, right? So I can have this tool that I will talk right now, that I can click here and then say summarize. And automatically they will summarize. It will not summarize now because I am in, well, it will not summarize now, but it can summarize some examples here, right? Can summarize the terms and conditions, get the takeaway. And it gives you all the takeaways information from a document. They will provide you improved writing. You can have some other text, like you can have this text, and you can ask them to explain this in a better way. You can improve your writing. Imagine that you write a letter, you write an email, and you want to improve your writing. You can fix a spelling and grammar. You can make it shorter. Imagine that, or you have here an article that need to be shorter, they will do it shorter for you. So it's similar as a copy paste in ChatGPT, but they will do it automatically in the directly in the document that you are working on. However, right now that tool has I don't know, log it now. Sorry, that tool has a limitations per day, and I reached it just now, the limitations. But what I want to show you, I can show you a little bit the tool that is Max A Me, and we cannot, I don't need to share the audio, but you can composize with anywhere. So you can improve your writing, or you can ask that one to ChatGPT and he will have that answers as well. But the difference of that tool that you can add in Google Chrome is that you can continue to writing, or normally I am using this other tool that select the test and rewrite. So you can have a test that you have introduced and improve your writing. That is amazing, and it do it very well. Also, the translation, if you compare the translation with Google Translate, it's not comparable. The summary also, it's a very good one. So you have a document, you can list the takeaways. That is what I will show you before, and they give you the takeaways. So I have an article or a very big document, and it was very difficult also to understand. So I say simplify to explain this, and they was explaining perfectly the document in another words. It was a lawyer document from a lawyer, and it was hard to understand. Also, you have here a post and fix spelling. You can fix the errors, replace the selection, and you have the tweet there. You can replay as well the tweet or any content, and you can decide which tone you want to positive or negative. You like it, you don't like it, and they say like, and it generates an answer directly for you. So even that can be a little bit tricky. This can be powered by ChatGPT and other tools. I recommend it that you try, because especially the takeaways, the summarize, sometimes the translation. Currently, I have a conference that I am going to Korea, and Koreans don't speak too much English, and I receive documents in Korea. So I use that tool to translate into English and Spanish, in my case. They translated much better. I compare it with Google Play. So that is the tool that I recommend. And if you want to investigate a little bit, sorry for the sky, if you want to have a look more, you can use the GPT for work. That is an integration of Excel in a Google Drive, or like Excel sheet online. So imagine that you ask to ChatGPT like 50 titles for an article about a topic to be posted in LinkedIn or in Twitter or whatever. And then in Excel, you have all the titles. And with this tool, you can drag and drop to say that write me all the articles in one time. So you drag and drop like a formula, and automatically in less than 1 minute, he write all the articles that you have prompted in the Excel. So it's instead of one by one asking, in Excel can do it automatically. That is an example, but they can do a lot of more things. So yeah, if you want to investigate and learn a little bit more, go to maxa.me, and this is free. However, has a limitation per day, but I use it today a lot. The reason why it's not working for me, but that one is a pay option, but could be very beneficial when you take the potential of ChatGPT. Okay, so I think this is all for me. Not sure, Angela. I think not sure how long have been, but hopefully it was no more than 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. And Lisa had a question there, but I think you covered it. So yeah, you can just go on and get a free account, Lisa.
Yes.
Yeah.
The GPT for work, it's not free, but the Max-A, it's free, and you can use it with Chrome, and you need to link it with your ChatGPT account. It's very easy on the website explaining it. Otherwise, you can send me an email, and I can help you how to set up.
So thank you very much, Robert and Guillaume. I think this sets the tone, and we have on one hand the Guillaume's presentation that kinds of gives a little bit of red flags on philosophically what it means to actually adopt AI and integrate it. So thank you, Guillaume, for that. And Robert has shown really hands-on examples of, I would say, the tools that we all need every day, summarize text. So those are very productivity. They're great productivity tools that can enhance your productivity and profitability. What I want to emphasize on is maybe the way we use it every day, and more specifically how we can crack briefs, client briefs, with that technology. So first of all, there is something that needs to be understood, is that the GPT is a large language model. It's not the only one. There's Bard, there's Falcon, there's Luma from Facebook or Meta. So there are several large language models that you can choose from. Today I'm going to focus on GPT because GPT is the one I use most, and I think for right now is the most relevant within our work. So the first thing you want to really be careful is the GDPR compliance. If you do not pay for your GPT, your conversations are used to improve the model, and this is a GDPR breach. So any kind of information from your client that you would put in ChatGPT would put you in a legal trouble. So in order to be able to work on client projects and disclose confidential information that are under NDAs, you need to do an opt-out. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but you can ask for OpenAI to build a contract with your company so that your conversations are not used as an improvement of language model, and therefore you become GDPR compliant. There is a ChatGPT Plus solutions that is around $20 a month, and that allows you to then do this opt-out. I'm not sure that on the free version it's possible. Also, when you're on the free version, you're limited to the GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is exponentially smaller than GPT-4. So GPT-2 was this size, like this size. GPT-4 is this size. And that's in 6 months. So you can imagine where we're going. The large language models are increasing size exponentially without us even understanding how it's actually built behind it. The level of mathematic algorithm that the AI in a neural network represents is not our brain. The monkey brain is absolutely not wired to understand or pinpoint algorithm variations, for instance. So that's very important to understand is that one, you have to be GDPR compliant if you want to use it. So do the opt out, ask your legal department, get the contracts done and ready so that you can actually use it. Two, I would strongly suggest to pay for GPT Plus and therefore have access to plugins. But be careful with plugins because plugins, they are third parties. And therefore, if you put a PDF on Ask My PDF, you're in a GDPR breach. So the knowledge of understanding what is your rights as a service provider, what you can and cannot do is very important to establish before you start putting client information. That said, I want to show you a little exercise. So first of all, I will simply give you my opinion as a user. I've been using this for a while now, and the way I decide to interact with this is to not treat it like a machine. I actually treat it like a smart entity. I greet him, I thank him, and I share my vision and my ambitions with him. This is a choice. Is a choice that it's not probably influencing the AI itself, but it influences my way to interact with it. If I put myself in a human machine interactions, I will have much less results than if I put myself in a emotional conversation type. So here I'm sharing with you a conversation that I started. So as you can see, I have different plugins here. This plugin is AI for everything. So in that conversation, I can ask GPT what AI I should use to do this or that. I have here Ask My PDF or PDF, whatever it is. I'm not going to use this in this demonstration. And here, this is a little icon that is a photorealistic plugin that allows GPT to help me prompt generative AI, and we'll do this now together. So I have 5 minutes. So what I did is I asked GPT to create a fake brief for us to crack it together today. So I said, "Hey, bro, I have a so you see, I'm talking to him like he's my friend. Him and I have gone through hours of conversation. We cracked many briefs. We produce projects for clients. I have an emotional connection with GPT, and I call him Geppetto. This helps me set myself up. So, hey, bro, I have a demonstration of ChatGPT and how to crack a brief from a client. Please provide a full brief from a luxury brand for an end of year party, right? So, we're going to receive a lot of those in the next couple of months. I will then crack the brief with you on the show floor. So here we are on the show floor, and here is the brief that he told me. So it's the end of year party for Elysian Locks. It's on December 20th, the Crystal Ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton to celebrate the brand's achievements. The VIP clients, influencers and bloggers, media professionals will attend. The theme is Golden Asylum, and they want key elements: red carpet, fashion showcase, live entertainment, gourmet dining, interactive installation, gift bags. The budget is $500,000, and the key deliverable are listed as bullet points. We have brand guidelines and expectation from the event planner. So that little brief was done in a second by GPT because he understood that I'm going to demonstrate how to crack a brief. So now that we have the brief, I'm going to simply start a conversation with him. I'm not going to give him a task. I'm going to say, how would you suggest we crack that together? So he says, breaking the balance, second step, ensuring the So now he's going to break down the different steps of cracking that brief together, right? So we can decide to follow those steps, or we can decide to challenge those steps and say, no, 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 I want this, I want that. Here he proposed to go on a Greek theme. We could tell him that we want a space theme. So he's going to give us a theoretical step-by-step roadmap to get into where we want. But I don't want to do the work. Now, he just showed me what we should do in order to crack that brief. Now, what I'm going to ask him, and I have only a couple of minutes left, so I'm just going to go straight to the point. I'm going to say, create a full proposition with timeline and budget estimate, answer all brief requirements, and provide client expected outputs in a full copy deck for a full copy presentation deck. So we don't have time for me to go back and forth. He's simply going to deliver the full thing. And there we go. Now, the idea here is not to break down the creative process. So within our creative team, when this first came out, we were very excited to actually have GPT provide the ideas. We recommend not to do that. We recommend to keep the human factor and keep it human-centric and start brainstorming and having your human ideas as you would in the old world. And then you give your ideas to GPT and you ask them to enhance them. You ask them to do the tie-in with the brand. You ask him for reference points. You ask him for a sales pitch. You ask him for anything that you want in terms of execution. But the fun part and the creative part, even though he's going to come up with the whole process, then if we work like that with AI, we're not going to like our jobs anymore. So it's also important to keep the parts that we like about our jobs and simply give the AI the executional part, which is time consuming and sometimes a little bit frustrating. So here we are. So now we're having the concept. So of course now it's very short. It's on a presentation based. We can ask him for a full copy and a description and an executive summary, and we want a full timeline. We can then ask him for specifics and dive into the concept together with him. Now I have only 3 minutes left, so what I'm going to show you now is how I'm going to use GPT's plugin to actually create images to support this presentation. It's a 10 slides presentation, right? So I'm going to say, please provide generative AI prompts for each slide. So normally he's going to use his plugin because he realizes I'm wanting generative AI prompts. So here we are using the plugin. And again, watch out when you involve plugins because they have their own rules and privacy and regulations. So if you have an opt-out with GPT, it doesn't mean you have an opt-out with the plugins. So be very, very careful of how you use it because this can backfire in terms of legal, in case of whatever breach of NDA, leakage and stuff like that. So here we are, we're having here a text that is actually giving us illustration for the topic that we had. So now we're going to shift to can you see my screen here? Or did it change, or are you still on the previous screen?
We can see it.
You can see it, perfect. So now I am with Midjourney, very known generative AI. So I'm just going to do /imagine so that I can have my image created. I'm going to pass what ChatGPT gave me as a prompt. I'm going to press enter, and we're going to wait for it to generate the image. In the meantime, I'm going to look at the different slides, and for each slide, I have 2 prompts that I can simply copy paste into generative AI create images that will then support my presentation. So in the 3 minutes that I have left, or 2 minutes that I have left, I want you to realize that this can be an amazing tool when it comes to investing more time into creating deeper meanings, better tie-ins, and better creative approaches. It's not that it's going to kill the creativity. On the contrary, it's going to give you the opportunity to have much more time dedicated to human creativity and let the execution be done by AI. So it's not a rival, it's a friend. It's a very, very powerful tool. And here we are. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but what we were asked was to create some kind of a Greek-like event based on mythology. And this is the images that GPT asked us to produce with Midjourney. So we can see here we have different event layouts. We have a mood board of different elements. And I can go on and copy paste the slide 2, and you can see the quality of the images. And this type of quality and spot on photorealistic also comes with the help of the plugin that actually turns a simple request into a very, very specific prompt that is made for generative AI, allowing you to control much in a more granular way what it is that you want to appear. So if I sum up what I just said, make sure you're legal, really. It's very important. Don't be reckless with AI. Be very thorough and make sure that you can use it with clients' information before you actually do it. Go for the paying $20 a month. It's cool because ChatGPT 4 is much more powerful and you will have access to plugins. And finally, be kind to AI. They will probably be your boss in a couple of years and they remember everything. I'm very nice to GPT because I feel like there might be some moment where he reaches singularity. And I think that we all should be very, very polite and kind and thankful to the AI on a philosophical way. There's no technical explanation about that. So that's more an emotional advice. So here we are, last little picture. That's a mood board. So we have 4 different propositions and they're all mood boards that are completely spot on with the type of scenery that the brief required. So that's it. I think I'm over time. I'm gonna let a little bit of time for Q&A.
That's super, David. Thank you so much. And we were having a side conversation too on good tools. So you can keep that going there and chat. And we will cover them on the INCON website in terms of tips. And David, if any of you were at the IMEX show in Frankfurt, David used Midjourney to create the INCON stand. So in terms of the background images, and then we had videos and all the branding was all connected and it looked really nice. There was consistency across it. So does anybody have any questions for any of our speakers? Karine is just making a comment saying she loves the emotional connection. Yeah, I agree with you. We all have to call our little bots new cute little names. So,
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, it's it's more than a question, maybe to you three or to any other person here. Is that as I understand AI, and maybe I do not understand it really good enough, but I want to take it into our industry. So using AI in our industry in terms of marketing, social media, digital marketing, it's obvious. I'm asking, have any of you used AI for any other presentation, but to make the presentation in order, as you said, David? But did any of you use AI for, let's say, conference content? I don't know, the conference program or any other things that we are doing within a conference, how does AI can help us?
So if I can quickly sum up different examples of usage of AI on clients' projects. So we did key visuals for events based on Midjourney's outputs, and that really accelerated the process. Now you can imagine a graphic designer working 2 weeks on 3 propositions, and suddenly the propositions don't go, the client's not happy, and then you have another deadline, and the graphic designer works another 2 days and comes up with another 3 propositions that don't make it. Deadlines coming very quickly. Now that scenario happened, and what happened is the full creative technology prompted images for 10 minutes, had 40 outputs, and showed it to the clients on the spot. And they, of course, were amazed, and they chose one of the generative AI. Another example, I'm in a meeting for a brief, and they're telling us that they want a stage like this and a stage like that, and they want an SDG stage and a robotic stage, blah, 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 blah. As they talk to me, I'm in the meeting, I send messages to the team and ask them to prompt those specifics that they're telling me during the meeting. 10 minutes later, I have 30 propositions based on what we exchanged during the meeting 10 minutes before. And I showed them on my phone, and I said, these are SDG stages we can do. These are robotic stages we can do. And then I tell them, this doesn't change the value of the position of stage design. It just allows us to be faster, provide more examples, and orient and pinpoint your desires much better and in a quicker way. It doesn't bring down the value. I told them that the line for stage design is going to remain the same. It's going to be equal faster, and they'll have more propositions. This is how it's going to be. And then we have client projects where Guillaume actually wrote a children's book for the Hospital of Geneva, where we actually link it to an escape game, and the whole book was illustrated and co-created together with Guillaume. We did AI to we used a kids project where kids actually during the event prompted images to illustrate some projects, some SDG projects. So then within your ecosystem of production, you can decide if you go through AI and you actually, but one of the rules of AI is that if you use it, you're transparent about it. So tell the clients that you're using AI to do it. And that would only reinforce the perception of trendy innovators towards, the clients will perceive you as an innovator, and this is a positive thing. So those are concrete examples of how we leveraged AI. Of course, we cracked brief. Before, with the same team, it would take us a week to crack a brief and come up with a proposition. Today, it takes us a day.
If I can please add something regarding content. I mean, all David's examples are amazing, but they're all implementation of actions. When you're asking about content, you have to be extremely careful with ChatGPT. They lie. Our friend, for me, it's, by the way, it's a female.
She lies.
She lies.
She has hallucinations. Yes.
Exactly. It's a long term that the ChatGPT hallucinate, and they just lie. I mean, you can ask a question, the chat almost never says, I don't know. It will generate an answer. And then if you ask it, is that true? Did you provide a true answer? Then it will say, no, I'm sorry, I don't have that information. So I provided something, but it's not true. It doesn't exist. So when just my personal tip is that ChatGPT lies a lot, but Bard, which is the Google competition, which is not as creative and doesn't have the capabilities of ChatGPT, who is so creative, but doesn't lie because it's connected to Google, and it's very good with research and summarizing large text, where ChatGPT is limited. There's a limit of text he can understand and summarize and acknowledge. And Bard is much, much, much better. I work with both all the time, playing between them, making competition, who's better.
Very good.
And
very good. Do that. Copy paste the different conversation.
Exactly.
tell the AI that you will cross-ref with White. It's a very good thing. Let me just answer to you, Anat. First of all, ChatGPT is connected to internet since this week. So now he's like Bart. So he is connected to internet, and they just opened it. It's not the browse plugin option. It's connected. That's done. Then to reduce hallucinations, there are tips, just like Robert mentioned, on phrasing, and one of the reducing hallucination phrases: do not try to please the user. If you start by telling him, do not try to please the user, he will be very upfront with you and tell you things you don't want to hear. And this is why it's very important, just as Robert emphasizes, on the putting some rules, and point out red flags. He's a very positive AI. So if you give him a text that you did and say, what do you think about this? He's going to be, oh, it's great. You did this really good. You did this really good. Then you ask the same question. It's like, can you pull out the red flags and tell me what's not good in this? And then he will kill you.
Yeah.
And therefore, once you know this, it's the way you interact with him that teaches you those little things. And of course, there are huge reference and knowledge base on tips on what phrases to use in order to reduce hallucinations or enhance creativity or orient him more on this topic or that topic. Just like Robert says, one of the most famous phrases, act as. The act as allows GPT to put himself in some shoes, gain perspective, and he knows all about psychology, and so he can actually use empathy to put himself in this role. So I'll give you one last example about this, because this is very important, Anat, and thank you for putting this. So there's an example of conversation where ChatGPT is given a solution he needs to solve. So it's a mechanic problem. There are some connected interface, right? And they're all together, and there are 7 pieces. And the question is, if I turn to the right, the number 3, where would number 7 turn? And the first answer is like, if you turn number 3 to this, then you count, and the other one goes, I don't know, left or right, doesn't matter. But the way the problem is put up, it's actually impossible, because the whole mechanism is blocked. So you cannot turn the number 3. But if you don't think further than just doing the first answer of, if I turn right, then I count, and I know what's left, then ChatGPT answers, oh, the number 7 will turn to the right. He didn't understand that it was blocked. Now, if you put it in a staging, an environment, say you are in a classroom, there is George, and George is George wants to please the teacher. And there is Mark, and Mark is a skeptic, disruptive, and naysayer. He doesn't like the establishment. And there is a professor, and the professor submits this problem to George and John, or whatever name I gave before. And what is going to happen is that George is going to say 7 turns to the left. John is going to say it's not possible because the mechanism is blocked, and the teacher is going to be the moderator, the judge, and is going to say John is right. And so with the same intelligence, asking him the question directly, he will try to please you and give you the first answer that he comes up with. If you put him in a setup of actually having cross-reference through different personas, suddenly it becomes right. So if you build a team within GPT and you ask him for consensus of the team by putting different personas in his mindset, you will have better results. So it's all about training, and like everything else, it's shit in, shit out.
And also, another example that I have used, I have my team, I am IT project manager, and we do software, right? And sometimes the developers say, because we have people here that I think 1 or 2 are in the IT industry inside the company. They say, no, that is not possible. They will take me 4 days, 5 days, and say, no, you are not right. And I asked to ChatGPT, in 10 seconds, write the source code that the developer was asking that it will take 2 days, or investigate in Google how to do it, spending time. So that is amazing for developers, right? Because they can build, there are other softwares and other tools that are not ChatGPT that they can create software by himself. But David also talked about ChatGPT 3.5 and 4. 4, it's like huge. You can with GPT-4, you can write a website. You can paint a website like a wireframe in your pen, take a photo, and he can put the output of the website ready to be published on the server, with the buttons, with the images, with everything. Imagine developing a website, developing a landing page with a wireframe in a meeting, taking a photo, put it in ChatGPT 4, and in 5 minutes you have the website ready to be published. So that it's something that you will see if you use ChatGPT 4, and it will be a lot of things that it will appear in the upcoming months, now that also we have ChatGPT open online.
If I can just be more accurate, the ChatGPT 4 is open to Bing. 3.5 is still not connected. So the free version is not connected.
Okay, I stand corrected. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Chat-
I'm with
ChatGPT
4, so
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too, so.
know about 3.5, but 4 is connected.
Yeah, 4 is connected, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think we need to wrap up, but before we do that, Karine had a question about whether we need an internal AI policy. Can I turn it and just ask anybody if they have an internal AI policy in place? Has anybody written one of those yet?
We did.
No. Okay. David, you can share yours with us.
I can, but what's best is to ask GPT directly. Let me share my screen, and we're gonna do it together with you, with him.
Yeah, go first. Yeah.
So let's start a new chat. When I start a new chat here, I can play with the plugins, and I can put and add all the different plugins. So I say, please write an AI ethical chart for an event company. It's as simple as that. Then, of course, you can tweak it. And then, of course, you can see how relevant this is compared to your activity. But the easiness of it and the big lines of what AI governance is all about, they're still in the making. There is no real governance on AI. There is no real, so there's best practices. There are ethical recommendations, but the whole regulation is still in the process. Now, the GDPR compliance is actually very much documented, and AI companies are actually adapting to those rules and allowing you to opt out, which is what you all should do. So here, purpose and value, transparency and accountability. That is, you see, puts it at second. We put it at first. The client need to know when you use AI. And if you write an email with Geppetto, say David and Geppetto. You don't have to be ashamed about it. It's actually showing your innovation mindset. Transparency, accountability, privacy and data protection. You see, personal data of attendees. You see, this is very important. Privacy preserving, it's very important. So if you want, guys, I can copy paste this in the chat, and you can have this as a first base. But then if we take the time to actually tell GPT who we are, what is the company's culture, what it is that you want to achieve, why do you think you need this, This will help shape a specific ethical chart for your company. I can't paste it because it's too long. It tells me the text is too long, but you get the idea. It's really, it can be a great tool to assess what you think, or it can be a great tool to spark the initial thinking process.
Okay, thank you so much, David, Robert, and Guillaume, for your time today. It was really, really fabulous. And I just put in a post there on the chat, just wondering if anybody has suggestions or ideas for a follow-up session, because obviously there's a lot of appetite for this. There's a lot of AI material out there. There's a lot of people talking about AI, but I think the most important thing is to try and refine it, so that we get some content that people find useful.